We had our points with it.
It's always one of those. It's always a good movie when Bill Paxton dies in the first 25 minutes.
I'm just saying that.
Oh, wait a minute. Bill Paxton dies in this? Sorry, it's 25 years. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go see
it.
I was already on the edge. Like, Bill Paxton, yeah, something finally good in this movie.
Yeah, the extreme.
I'll just...
A piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do! You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
There's no crying in baseball! This is wrong, bitch. Hey, the Schwartz be with you.
I am the father.
At you, my pretty.
Take your stinking paws off me.
May the force be with you.
Here's Johnny.
Happy Tippy Top Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to episode 350. Welcome to U-571. You're listening to a brand new episode of the Cine-Menmovie podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tony Soprano. I am one of your hosts, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew, the good fellas. Zach?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Jay?
Hey, out there in podcast land, let's have a good Memorial Day discussion.
Good Memorial Day episode, yes. Jay's kicking us off on the right foot. Hope everybody had a good, safe, happy Memorial Day weekend. It's the start of summer for everybody else, but also for the Cine-Menmovie podcast. This is, excuse me, this is kind of crazy, but this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, July is going to be intense. July, and it looks like the beginning of August is going to be intense.
This is the calm before the storm for us, but like you can barely catch your breath because it's not like today's a slow packed episode. We got a war movie, we got some barbecue items, we got some summer blockbuster news coming up. And then next week June begins and we kick it off with Mission Impossible 8. Unbelievable. What a week it's been. What a summer it's going to be here at the podcast. I can't wait.
So,
we're here to bring you all the reviews and all of our valid points, and listen to us because we're smart and we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, we know what we're talking about, that's for sure. If you guys want to listen to last week's episode, we had a fun conversation all about what did we talk about last week? Star Wars Episode 3 and the Revenge of the Republican Sith. We talked about that last week. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, the link is in all of our social medias. So go back at facebook.com/the Cine-Menmovie podcast. Check us out there. X is at Cinnamon405. You can check out all my recent watches and the Instagram of the page at Instagram/the Cine-Menmovie podcast. Recent watches will return next week. We'll get into some of that next week. So yeah, go check out last week's conversation. It was a fun topic. Again, Star Wars Episode 3. It was also the farewell episode to Edward. So go back, listen to that episode, and may the force be with you and all of your Republican and Democratic votes that was in that episode.
Oh yeah,
so,
we discussed the hell out of everything but Star Wars in that episode. Yeah. International trade declarations, treaties.
So Zach, I wanted to just bring this up. Jay, you can chime in too because this is your second Memorial Day episode. Zach, what are some of the memorable spotlights of talking about a war movie on Memorial Day the last 7 years? What has it been like for you?
It's always been fun. I feel like it's become like kind of like our list episode was for the review of the year or whatever. It's become like a tradition to do. Every year we always do a war movie. I think the first one we ever did was Saving Private Ryan, and it kind of kick-started from there.
It's kind of hard to go up or down with that movie, isn't it? Because that movie is perfection.
Yeah.
It is. We've talked Hacksaw Ridge. We've talked. Have we done? We did. We Were Soldiers. I think we did that for our 20th anniversary. We've talked all different types of films, and for war, I think one year, I think you guys did the remake of All Quiet on the Western Front, which I think was a pretty interesting episode.
Yeah. A few years ago, we did Top Gun Maverick, which is kind of considered a war movie.
Yep. So we've always done this as kind of like a quote unquote salute to the troops, and just kind of doing like, hey, let's do something relevant for Memorial Day instead of Lilo and Stitch.
Remember the true purpose of Memorial Day.
Let us know, Jay.
The true purpose of Memorial Day, for those that don't know, our overseas listeners, because I know we have them, because we've seen the analytics, we know we got you. So here in America, every year we observe the time and the right to thank our veterans of any foreign war that happened. Whether you were in the Civil War all the way up to now's wars, if you were in a war or you served, we give you thanks and we memorialize you in a general sense. So, and plus, we also want to sit there and remember all the lives that were lost, good and bad, on both sides. War's hell, that we want to memorialize those people as well. So Memorial Day for certain Americans means quite a bit. Some don't care, but others do care.
When I think of Memorial Day, also there we go. That's America right there.
America, fuck yeah.
That's America right there. Or you also have. There we go.
Yeah. Keep people out of District 9. It's not cool for everybody.
That was a fun episode in its own right.
Yeah, it was.
So, man, no, I think it's very safe to say that what I look at some of our episodes is, even though we're just some movie fans from Oklahoma who started out with like 10 listeners, and we secretly found our way into 9,000 downloads a week, like, to me, it helps me know that, like, this is our safe place, and I think we can all agree this is our safe place once a week to just come together and talk movies and BS with each other. But, like, it's also cool that this is also someone else's safe place that I've never met, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense that I'm happy that we're able to provide an outlet, whether it be an hour and a half, to escape their lives. And,
America.
Yeah, America.
Speaking of which,
American episode.
Speaking of which, Johnny, did you ever hear back from the soldier that we've talked about him multiple times on the show?
From Jeffrey. I don't remember the last name, but no, I've never gotten any other emails. We had a listener who I think was deployed overseas, and he looked forward to our show every week. He wrote in and emailed us, and was very grateful that we do this on a weekly basis.
See that right there. I know what sometimes what we think we do is very minuscule and small, but you never know what a person out there is going through. That they can hear our little voices, and in our mind, our voices are very small, and but for some reason, for some people, it carries an impact, which is an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Especially for that serviceman that you were talking about, that he looked forward to hearing you guys' discussions for the week. It wasn't mine because I wasn't a part of the team yet. It was you guys' discussion that held his interest, and so that and to me that looks like that you're doing a service for your servicemen. You're taking his mind off the war or wherever his situation is for at least an hour.
Yeah, and I mean when he emailed us, we were like, what, maybe a year and a half in, something like that.
Yeah, fairly pretty quick and new. And I always check our emails at least once every other week, and I had his emails, like his name, pinned, And yeah, I still haven't
Well,
received anything
Hey,
newer.
we can do this right now. If he's out there listening to this episode right now and is participating, send us a line and tell us how you've been.
We did that a few weeks ago, I think, too, didn't we, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll keep doing it until you reply back. We don't forget about any of our fans.
They're not fans here; they're family.
There we go. Or they become cast and crew.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Speaking of the family,
Which family you talking about, Mr. Sopranos watcher?
we'll talk about.
That's why he wants to save recent watches to next week because he'd already started on the series again.
No, I'm almost done. I mean, if you guys have something you want to throw out there and talk about real quick,
I'd say real quick. Let's talk
we
about the
can.
elephant. We could talk about the elephant in the room. We're getting ready to do a war episode about U-571. But the biggest elephant in the room right now is the huge blockbuster smash, Lilo and Stitch, $185 million opening weekend. It's like, and we all seen it, and it was we all have our takes on it because of the original Hana Meets Family, whatever. But I thought it was it was pretty good.
It was pretty good. I'll kick mine off real quick by saying I've only seen that this week, U-571, and I'm still going strong on The Sopranos. So get that real quick out of the way. Lilo and Stitch, I'd give it a 3.5.
I give it about a 3.5 as well. I think the ending they kind of screw up a little bit. I also seen Karate Kid Legends. If you've seen the trailer, they try to sell it that Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are all through the movie. They are not. Ralph Macchio is probably
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. No, I don't want to know. No.
Okay, never mind. I'll shut up. Okay,
Shut up.
sorry. Okay, done. Ralph Macchio dies from the crane kick. Fine, there you go, all of y'all. I just ruined everything for everybody.
He breaks his back like Rocky in Power Rangers Turbo.
Yeah, he's like, here, I'm going to show you how to do the most defensive kick ever, the crane kick, and he goes for it, and he, like, falls over, and it's like, he breaks his back, and the movie's over. You're like, what the hell? That was a weird ending to a Legacy movie.
Jay, what about you? What else you check out?
I've been watching How I Met Your Mother.
Mm.
Even though the last episode kills the damn series, the journey to get to that last episode is fun as hell.
Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I went and saw Lilo and Stitch like you guys. I'm going to go a step higher. I give it a 4. I think it's one of the better live action Disney remakes that we've gotten in the last couple years.
Stitch was incredible.
The final reckoning is upon us. We're going to be talking about Mission Impossible next week. Went and saw that. Went and saw Sinners for a third time, actually. And then
tell us about that experience.
Do what?
Won't you tell us about that experience? What you take with you?
Oh, I took my mom to go see it because she's a big Michael B. Jordan fan, and she, up till the vampires, she loved it, and then when that happened, she was like, "Oh, this is terrible."
She hated it.
Yeah, she didn't like it at all.
Man, what did she tell you why?
She just didn't like the vampire aspect of it. She thought it could have been a really good story without the vampires, and she was just disappointed. Like that's what they decided to do with it, essentially. And then the last
for the gimmick.
Yeah. And then The Last of Us had its season 2 finale this week.
I haven't watched that yet, so
I'll just say it sets it up for a cliffhanger and sets it up for season 3. That's what I'll basically say. So
dude, I found season 1 at a local.
Yeah, and I hate you for it. I really did.
I found season 1 at a local used place here in the city for $15.
Nice. Was it on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll be getting into that soon.
That was like a $40 set on release.
Yeah. I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's either going to be.
I want to see some. Yeah.
It's going to be either September or August, but we will have an episode conversation topic completely dedicated to TV shows.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude,
it'll be
wow. Oh man.
It'll be a conversation piece dedicated to TV shows, part 1, and we will rank our top 5 plus 5 TV shows.
Oh, nice.
So,
that'll be a 3-hour show because Jay's seen every TV show known to man.
Part 1.
Not every TV show known to man, but I've seen a lot, and there's a lot that you guys have missed out on. I am 8 years older than you guys.
Part 1 will be in August, and it'll be we'll talk 10 through 5 or 10 through 6, and then part 2 we'll have 5 through 1.
Nice.
At a later time and date. I wanted to introduce something else before we get on with the show. Birthdays today: Lily Depp Rose, Joseph Fiennes, Christopher Lee, Paul Bettany, Jack McBrayer, Cindy Sampson, Vincent Price.
Oh, hell yeah. No.
Richard Schreif, just to name a few. So I think every week I'm going to go through birthdays.
That's cool.
Yeah.
While we're here discussing birthdays, anybody have any famous celebrities on their birthday? Wow, the biggest one that I can remember is Annie McDowell was born on my birthday.
I think mine is Dustin Hoffman.
Not a bad one to have.
I have Chris Rock and Garth Brooks.
Ooh,
Nice.
Those are two heavyweight.
Yeah.
Damn. I got Annie McDowell. Her daughter is more famous than she is.
Nice. I guess we can get into the war movie conversation that we're talking about. Today we're talking about U-571 with an IMDb rating of 6.6, Rotten Tomatoes score of 68, a Metascore of 62, and then a Letterboxd score of 3.2 out of 5 with an April 17th, 2000 release date. The budget was $62 million. It grossed a little over $127 million at the box office. Starring Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey, Harvey Keitel, John Bon Jovi, David Keith, and directed by Jonathan Mustow.
Didn't he direct Terminator 3?
Yep.
A German submarine is boarded by disguised American submariners trying to capture their Enigma cipher machine. I believe it also won an Oscar for Best Sound Editing.
Yep.
It was also nominated for Best Sound.
The sound, the version that I watched on my computer, the sound was really, really low. But whenever things got bumping, things, you could tell this was an early 2000s track where they bumped up the sound for all the special effects and all the booms and bangs.
So,
but the speech I had to really listen for.
Checking it out on the Blu-ray today, the sound was amazing. This movie is also available on Netflix for those of you that want to check it out with us. First time watch versus now. I think it's all of our first time watch, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So let's dig into the episode. I tell you, when I say that I was completely unentertained by the idea of this movie, even though it was my idea. We were getting ready to do Free State of Jones, or just a war movie piece in conversation at all, or
we were going to do. I think we were going to do Black Hawk Down originally.
Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, we cannot have a year dedicated to somebody and completely skip out on them.
And this movie solves two problems. It gives us a Matthew McConaughey movie for the month, and it gives us a war movie.
Yeah.
Am I right?
So yeah, it was either it was going to be Free State of Jones, or like Zach said, Black Hawk Down. I still think I'm saving Black Hawk Down for somewhere later in this year. Zach, let's start with you. Some of your big negatives and positives about this movie.
So yeah, this is my first time watch. This was a movie that I never. I think I owned the DVD of it for the longest time, but just never watched it. It's a film that I always kind of like just seeing the box. I really think it's actually a pretty cool poster for a film and everything. Overall, I think this film is fine to good in some parts. My biggest going into nitpicks, the pacing of it is so ungodly slow. It took me like 10 tries to just get through it, essentially. Like that's how every time I thought okay, we're about 30 minutes in. Oh no, it's like 5. It had the pacing of like a 1940s black and white noir film. That's how slow it was to me. And we can get into it. I think one of the other thing is we were going to talk about like war movies just in general at one point in time. I think this movie suffers from the biggest problem with war films. If Matthew McConaughey, Harvey Keitel, or Bill Paxton wasn't on screen, it suffers from faceless soldiers. I have no idea
Exactly.
what their names are.
I'm gonna agree with you right there. Like at the points that they weren't on the screen, I was like, who cares? And
Yeah,
because I honestly felt that they were trying to do how most war movies do by setting up, the rebellious one, the humorous one, you know what I mean. But I think they failed pretty terribly here doing that with that.
Well, and the funny thing is, writing my notes, I saw John Bon Jovi was in the cast list. I was like, I don't even know. I don't even know what character he
when
played.
I seen him, I was like, hold up, is that Bon Jovi? He's the photographer. He's the photographer that gets hit in the face with the door.
Does he get blown off the ship when
whenever the bombs hit, he's taking a picture of Matthew McConaughey's character.
Oh, okay.
And then he gets hit in the face with like some projectile, like one of the doors from the ship.
Doesn't Bill Paxton too? Because Bill Paxton's face was all.
Paxton's was burnt up because he went overboard because of the explosion threw him overboard, and that's what he was sitting there screaming, "Dive, dive, dive! Don't save me, dive! I'm good. Just go, go, go."
Yeah. So, like overall, I think it's fine to good in some places. Truthfully.
Yeah, this movie suffers a lot. Like I'll agree with you. The pacing is uberly slow. You know what?
You guys this real quick to get the pacing thing. I didn't find the pacing to be very slow at all. I actually found the pacing to be appropriate for a war movie.
Well, I didn't find it appropriate for a war movie, but I did find it appropriate for being confined to such a small area as they were.
Yeah,
I had to keep telling myself it's a submarine war movie, and they're confined to an area. Now, if this was the pacing of a war movie where there was so much land to discover and go over, then we have an issue. And so I kept having to tell myself they're confined to a submarine. They're confined.
See that I think that's what some of the pacing for me with the pacing was that I was feeling their tension that like in my own brain I have a fear of confined places. I have a fear of being in the water, and just those two things alone, being there, sitting there thinking that whenever they were dropping those depth bombs and everything, and all you could sit there and hear was this explosions around you, and you didn't know if that was going to be the point that the ship was going to explode on you guy around you or not, and it frightened me. I was frightened.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another positive I'll give. It did a very good job of selling the claustrophobic space of the submarine, where just like you literally had to like cram through holes and like narrow hallways to get to where you needed to go. And one of the other things is because this movie was still like early 2000, 25 years ago, the use of the practical effects they still look really good. And today,
that's another thing I want to say is that all the submarine shots look like they're really out in the depths of the ocean or in the depths of the ocean, and I honestly sat there and caught myself wondering how they pulled some of these shots off, because to get a submarine, that there's no movie tank that they have out there. They had to really probably go to the ocean and film this.
So, like, I don't know if it was on the Blu-ray, but on the DVD I got from the library, there was a bunch of special features on there. And what I thought, I thought, oh, did they go out to the ocean to film this? It's like they actually wanted to use a real World War II submarine to film on, but they're so antique and look like they're going to fall apart. They actually built like a life-size replica of these submarines, and they went out to like one of the world's biggest water tanks and filmed most of the sequences, and so most of it is
and you can't tell practical. One scene you cannot tell in any scene that I noticed while watching this movie, because I watched it on my laptop, and sometimes the special effects scenes on a smaller screen can come through as hokier, and not one time did I sit there and go, holy hell, they're really in the they're really out there in the ocean going for this dive.
Did it look on the Blu-ray?
The Blu-ray looked and sounded amazing, but the only special feature that's on the Blu-ray is director commentary.
That's
Really?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DVD they actually had like one of the plot points of the movie is that they're trying to steal an enigma.
See, that's what I said whenever I sit there and see. Whenever the movie first started, I was like, "Oh, they're trying to." I didn't even know what they were going after at first. I was like, "Oh shoot, the MacGuffin's done an enigma box," because I've seen enough World War II stuff to know what an enigma box is. Did you guys know what an enigma box was before this movie?
To an extent. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever remember the movie The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch. That was kind of like
I do, but I've not seen it.
yeah, that's kind of what that movie's about, like how Alan Turing created the machine. So I
Mhm.
had like a very baseline knowledge of what they were going after.
Because as soon as I heard they were going after a machine that would help them learn to communicate, learn the communications between the Germans, I was like, "Oh shoot, they're going after the Enigma box. Oh, this is what this is about." And I think that the MacGuffin being the Enigma box, and at least with my knowledge of what the Enigma box was and what it meant to the war front for the Germans and what it meant for our side, that if we did not, if this, yeah, I know that, did we even check if this is a real story or if this is just a collage of stories? But if this is the true story of how they get a hold of the Enigma box, then it's a harrowing tale. If not, then good job, Hollywood. You guys put one over on us.
It was based off it's based off a real story, but like they piece it together by different events. But
Okay,
like this movie caught like criticism, historical inaccuracies. That was like one of the biggest criticisms of it.
See, I didn't go any further in depth on what actually happened during the war, but I know at one point in time that the biggest thing that we could do was get a hold of that Enigma box, and not only that, there was a Nicolas Cage movie called what was it, Wind Talkers?
I was just about to bring that up. You remember that movie?
About the Navajo, yeah, about the Navajo. Wasn't it the Navajo code breakers?
Yeah.
Because so see that's what, like, seriously, I was fully invested with this movie as far as the Enigma machine goes, and I was like, oh yeah, I know what that machine means to the Allied Army.
Fun fact that there's an actor named David Keith and Keith David.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's their twins.
Yeah,
twinsies.
I was just about to bring up Wind Talkers. I haven't seen that movie in forever.
And
I guess, and it just like popped in my head as we were talking about this.
I haven't seen it in forever either.
Hey, there's one where we could possibly discuss at another time.
You know what? A better version of this movie. Like I said, I don't think this is a bad movie. I thought like a better version of it, even though it's kind of similar subject material, is Greyhound, the Tom Hanks movie. You remember that one?
Oh yeah,
that was released during COVID.
I have not seen that.
There's a lot of World War II movies that are just kind of floating out there that nobody's even. I mean, some people, of course, have seen it. Even like this movie. Do you guys think this movie would even be relevant today? No, I'm saying if it didn't have that Academy Award winning prize on it.
No, not at all. Because when you sit there and said Matthew McConaughey was in this movie, I had to sit there and go through my data bank, and my brain be like, wait a minute, he did a war movie about it. I remember the movie itself because I remember when it was released. And Roger and Ebert, they actually thought it was a good movie because I used to love watching Siskel and Ebert back in the day. Those were my film critics growing up.
Yeah, it used to come on before Entertainment Tonight, right?
At like 12:35 at night. And this was one of those ones that they actually enjoyed. And since this is the McConaissance episode, let's talk about Matthew McConaughey's performance. I thought he did a very, 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 very bang-up job in this movie, especially since this was really close to Dazed and Confused, and this was his very first major role to show what he can do, and he did it as a lieutenant in the subdivision.
Well, this was
captain.
This was 6 years later after Dazed and Confused. He still had a time to kill before this, which I think was way better than U-571.
I agree, but I think he was trying to stretch his legs here and to show that he could he could do dramatic. I just think that he just got lost in the shuffle in this though.
This is also after his underrated Oscar performance in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation, which is
Him
at
and Renee Zellweger killed in that movie.
which is at cannot wait to review in October.
Yep, we're doing it.
I think I'll have to call in sick.
No,
that day.
no, you can't call in sick at all. No, no, you can't get out of bad movies by calling in sick. There's no crying in movies. No, you can't call in for bad movies.
There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, see, it's in our intro.
I'll have to make
You
a
better
car
think of
accident or
something way
I don't
better
know.
than that. No, no, we'll come over and fucking. We'll come over and post your eyes open like they did with the Alex and Clockwork Orange. We'll make you watch that damn movie.
That's a movie that I'm going to be honest with you. There's a few movies that I've gotten emails about, and I beg to say, A Clockwork Orange, guys, is probably going to be a movie that is voted by listener interaction.
I'm just gonna let you know this. When
I don't know.
wait for it to be over.
I don't know if it's like on an anniversary or why it's trending, but we're getting a lot of emails about it.
Did Malcolm McDowell pass away?
I don't know.
Okay, I've watched it twice now, and both times
I've gotten.
I get it,
and it's so weird though.
I get it. But
right,
don't
but
care.
it's so weird. Like I'm probably gonna say 4 emails in the last 6 months.
Well, that's not too bad.
But still, A Clockwork Orange.
Well, a Clockwork Orange. You know how many people look up to the character of Alex in that movie? Like they look at him as the protagonist. He's not. He's actually a bad guy, but people look up to him as the hero, bro.
I've seen it. I've seen it twice, and I'm kind of on the same boat. Like, I don't get it.
It's the same thing with like American Psycho, where people sit there and think Patrick Bateman is the hero of the movie. I'm like, hello, he is the American Psycho.
Zach, what were you gonna say?
I've actually never seen it. It's one of the few Kubrick movies I haven't seen. I've just heard like what you said. It just has like this amazing following, and people are just like, like you guys. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's me.
What's funny is it's like
they talking. What throws the movie, in my opinion, the verbal speech of how they talk. They talk in a Cockney slang and an English British slang that it takes you a couple times of viewing to kind of pick up how they talk. And once you kind of pick up how they talk, then you can kind of like understand their motives a little bit better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they have a very distinct Cockney British talk, an accent, and the way that because it's set in Britain.
Correct.
I don't know why that's getting like huge renaissance, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's celebrating 50 years this year. We need to do an episode on that sometime this year.
I love that movie.
They're replaying it at the Regal too, aren't they?
Oh! Speaking of playing movies, I mentioned this. The one June 14th, 15th, and 18th, Regal Cinemas and Fandom Events are doing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusades. One showing a day. And it's quietly awkward.
Where were you guys? Where would you guys probably put this as far as like, if I'm talking like top tier war movies, this probably doesn't even get a top 10 mention.
I put it very mediocre. Just because during the right after World War II ended, if anybody knows the film history, John Wayne alone did like 20 damn World War II movies after World War II ended. I know I'm exaggerating, but he did a lot of World War II movies. World War II movies were the bread and butter from the mid 50s on to the early 60s. So there was a lot of stories being told about different battles and different things going on in the war.
So I'm gonna mention a few movies that are like top tier probably that we haven't yet reviewed, and if you guys want to ever just chime in, you can when I get done. I'll say like The Patriot, Schindler's List, Flags of Our Fathers, Hostiles, Last of the Mohicans,
Dances with Wolves.
Fury, Dances with Wolves, the Covenant.
When you mentioned
Um,
Fury, did you know that this movie had a screen credit written by David Ayer?
I did not.
You just mentioned Fury, and that like made my brain sit there and be like, oh yeah, whenever it was going through the credits, David Ayer was credited on the screenplay for this.
He didn't direct it?
No. Justin Mostow did. He's the one that did Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines with Arnold and
Oh, no. I'm talking about Fury.
No, he directed Fury.
Oh.
Yeah, he directed Fury, but I'm saying he has a
He has a
writing credit
on this.
Oh.
And when you said Fury, that made me instantly think of like, oh, I remember seeing the credits. And like,
Zach, did we ever do Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, I think we did because Ed really wanted to put. I think we did that for a war episode because I think Ed really wanted to talk about it.
I know we did Glory.
Yeah, Glory was a good episode.
Did we do Platoon?
No, we haven't done Platoon.
We have, and you know what kind of Forrest Gump could be considered a war movie.
Because it does take place over a couple.
Vietnam, yeah. I've been trying to get us to do the Patriot for the last couple of years.
Patton?
Isn't the Patriot set during the Revolutionary War with Mel Gibson, Heath Ledger?
Yep.
Okay.
The Thin Red Line?
I've seen that. There is a 4.5 hour cut out there.
Yep, I'm good on that. No 4.5 hour cut for me. And then as soon as it hits Blu-ray soon, Warfare.
We did see Warfare in theaters, and even though I missed a couple minutes of that movie was very excellent. The sound of that movie freaked me out. I don't know if you remember this or not, Juan, that like you could hear sniper bullets and you could hear them whizzing past you. You know what I mean? It was like, ding, ding. You're like, oh, hell no. I could not make it in the war zone. I'd be like, let me out of here, please.
Zach, what about you?
I'd love to talk about Schindler's List one day. I think that'd be a really good episode. Schindler's List. Hostiles would be an interesting film to do. Didn't we almost do Pearl Harbor almost 1 year?
Yeah, we almost did Jarhead too.
Oh man, Pearl Harbor was a hard set through in the theaters, man. I didn't realize it was 3.5 hours when I bought a ticket to that.
I saw that in the theater.
Oh, bro, whenever it got to the 1.5 hour mark, I was like, the movie's probably going to be over. They haven't even attacked Pearl Harbor yet. I was like, oh no, we're still in.
Yeah, a lot of people say that was Michael Bay trying to do his version of
Titanic.
Yep.
And Kate Blanchett in that movie is absolutely gorgeous.
Kate Beckinsale.
Sorry, what? I'm sorry. Like I said, anytime I see her in any of the underworlds, I'm like, oh god. And she's in her mid-50s and she looks incredibly hot now.
Kate Blanchett.
There's a director's
Kate Blanchett. Kate, come on, correct me real quick, Zach. Kate, what's her name?
No, Kate Beckinsale.
There we go. Yes, the underworld chick.
Oh,
there's a director's cut version of Pearl Harbor where like Michael Bay ups up let the graphic violence in the Pearl Harbor attack.
Yeah, it's rated R actually because in that cut, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character has more to do.
Oh,
I didn't know he was still acting.
His son is doing very well.
Cuba Gooding Jr. the third.
No, Mason Gooding. He played.
Oh, and he was in Scream.
Scream 5 and 6, and he'll be in 7. He was in Hard Eyes. Oh yeah, his son is doing very well right now.
This episode's kind of went everywhere, but U-571.
See, that should just tell us that as far as war movies go, it was generic and plain, and it just didn't cut the mustard. Matthew McConaughey's performance was fine. Harvey Keitel played the rough, gruff, underling, and we've already all three spoken that anytime that Bill Paxton, Harvey Keitel, or even Matthew McConaughey weren't on screen, we could care less because everybody else was just like, who cares?
Yeah,
they're fodder for they're basically what we got. If you're a Star Trek fan, they're basically red shirts. When is their time up? And I'm not even trying to sound like a racist or anything. And they even had the token black guy, and that made it seem just. I don't know if he was actually on the fucking ship or not when it happened, but it's just like they're like, you know what we need? A black guy here, and it's like, huh.
Well,
This was a product of the early 2000s completely. You can.
Well, I mean, I think we can all agree that when they killed off Bill Paxton, the star rating went immediately down one.
When I seen Bill Paxton, I was like, all right, hell yeah, I think it might actually. Hell yeah, this is going to be a good movie. It's going to be Matthew McConaughey and Bill Paxton pulling off each other. They're going to be going back and forth, and then I'm like, I see Bill Paxton in the water, like, dive, leave me alone. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Did anybody think he was going to like be survived like Lieutenant Dan? And like be like half of him would be like Freddy Kruegerized.
He looks like Two-Face from Batman.
Yeah,
and it's funny because in one of the special features on the DVD, they interview him. It's like, yeah, I've been in big effects films like Twister. I was like, yeah, like that's already 10 times better.
Leave it to Bill Paxton though to like. Died during an Alien movie, a Terminator movie, a war movie.
He is the only actor in history to have been killed by a Predator, an Alien, and a Terminator.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, that's a badass accomplishment right there, bro. You've been killed by 3 of the most iconic creature villains of all time.
If he died in Titanic, he would have had another one to his resume.
What's that?
If he had died in Titanic, that would have been another one for his resume.
Bro, he was superb in Titanic.
We need to have a Bill Paxton episode.
Bill Paxton is the shit.
That's what this is right now.
Right?
We've talked Twister, we've talked Titanic, we've talked Alien. Wait, he's an alien. He's an Aliens.
Yeah, we haven't done Aliens.
Yeah, we haven't done Aliens. We haven't even done Predator, Zach. What's wrong with us?
He's in Tombstone? I don't remember him in Tombstone.
He plays one of the Earp brothers, yes.
Oh, True Lies. We did True Lies, yep.
I love True Lies. I love True Lies.
Were you on that episode?
I was on that episode.
Apollo 13.
Yeah, oh yeah. The Bill Paxton era, when Bill Paxton was everything and he was always awesome in everything. Oh yeah.
You're gonna laugh at me, but like one of my favorite movies growing up was Mighty Joe Young. You remember that one?
With
Rene Russo.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
I thought Charlize Theron was so hot.
My bad. I thought Rene Russo was in it, but she's in another gorilla movie called Buddy.
Yes, you're thinking of. But I haven't thought of Buddy in. Dude, this is an incredible episode. We were just walking down memory lane because of U-571, because of just what the cast done, you know. Well, okay, I'll give it the atmosphere. Okay, we've already talked about it. Let's get back into the movie, shall we? We can't keep like sidebar and everything here. We gotta get back in the.
And one last one. Speaking of Tom
Cruise,
Cruise,
sidebar some more.
I forgot he was in Edge of Tomorrow, which is an awesome Tom Cruise movie.
Can we add Ed TV to the lineup of McConaughey movies? Because that one is where he plays like the everyman. And every other movie that Matthew McConaughey does, he's always trying to take on a grander like approach. You know, like in one movie he's an astronaut. In this movie, he's just a regular dude trying to find his way in life. Could we do that one sometime?
Yeah, it's directed by Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yes.
If we can find it, yeah, we'll do Ed TV.
I thought that was a very good parallel, and it's a very good analogy of how we as a society today look at ourselves as social media influencers. It was way ahead of its time, and I think it's right for a re-examination.
And Woody Harrelson's in it.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson's great in anything.
Yeah.
It's not streaming anywhere, unfortunately.
I can find it.
Yeah, we can wait for a minute and see if we can't find it, and we'll it'll be on the coming soon list. So
awesome, hell yeah!
You heard like Jay said, back to U-571. Is there any positives about the movie other than
the look? The cinematography is beautiful. The looks of the special effects is absolutely incredible. The way they made, I don't know how if they done it with miniatures, bigatures, what they did it with, but to make the submarines look to scale compared to the water, because that's a very hard thing to do. You can tell when something's, you know what I mean. Water and scale objects are very hard to pull off because water has a lot of very reflective surfaces, and you just got to play it a certain way.
I think there's a bunch of beautiful scenes as far as the cinematography goes, especially when like the scene where they approach and get on the actual submarine first,
Oh, yeah.
and then as soon as like the explosions happen, the coolness and dark cool look of the water, and then the red hot flame and the red hot look of the explosions and stuff mixing together, it looked really good in high definition.
That whole sequence was done practically. That was in one of the big water tanks.
What lets you know that the scene was very different and that shit was about to be elevated was when Bill Paxton's character looked over and you could see it in the murky water. You could see that turbine spinning on that missile heading towards their boat. You're like, oh man, this isn't going to end good at all. And then boom, all everything with the hell. Now, action sequences, can we all agree that they were all very well put together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the main thread to the story was that in order to complete your mission, sometimes you have to sit there and choose which men are going to die for your cause. You know, can you accept that mission? And that was Matthew McConaughey's biggest, hurdle, I think, storyline wise. It wasn't that he was a great captain, he was a great everything else. It was just a matter of, can he sit there and actually put his men's lives on the line in order to complete the mission like he needs to.
Tony does it all the time.
Hey, see? That's a good captain,
Speaking of another Bill Paxton, Matthew McConaughey crossover, you remember Frility? Bill Paxton directed that.
Frailty.
Yep.
Yes, it was about a guy who was a demon hunter. And his dad was a demon hunter when he was a kid, and as he grows up, he's telling other people about his story about how his father hunts demons.
I've never seen that.
I've seen it a long time ago. It is badass.
So, but yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you guys.
It's a very good horror movie.
I kind of agree with you guys. It's very much a kind of a bland, kind of forgettable World War II movie. But I mean, like I said, it has its flaws.
Set pieces are good, I think.
Yeah, like I said, it's a fine to a good middle of the road World War II movie. That
I find it this way is very cliche because of the characterizations that you have on the boats. You have Matthew McConaughey's, I need to learn to become a captain characterization. You have Harvey Keitel's gusto that no matter what, I might be older on the boat, but I have to sit there and take seniority above everything else. Then you got your hot shot, guy on there that questions everything. And what happens to him? He ends up getting killed, but he ends up saving the day as well. But then you have, they're all very much characterizations that we've seen for better war movies.
Yeah.
My biggest downfall for this movie was it was very forgettable, and it's like, to me, it's one of those movies that probably does not have any good rewatchability to it.
I'll agree with you. This movie is very forgettable because as soon as I stopped watching it, or anytime I took a break from it, because even like Zach, I took 4 breaks for this movie. And each break probably was about 25 to 28 minutes into the movie. And here I'm thinking, man, a lot of time has passed and only a few moments have passed. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go have a cigarette real quick, come back. And while I'm sitting out there having a cigarette, I'm not sitting there thinking about the movie. When I come back, I'm like, oh, yeah, that was happening. There was a lot of usually whenever I find a movie intriguing, if I walk away from it, I'm thinking about it. Where can it go next? What can it bring to me next? Where's this story going to go? And in this entire story, I was just like, I'm just ready to get this over with, but I still have an hour and a half left to go.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, what about you? And Zach, I'll say the same thing. As far as I go, I cannot take breaks during a movie. If I do, it's done for. I lost interest. I'm not interested in going back. Obviously, it's different. Maybe if you hit a theater up and you got to go to the restroom or you got a craving for something. But like, what about you guys? Zach, is a break necessary? Does it ruin the movie for you? Because a break will ruin a movie for me right off the go.
If I have to take multiple breaks throughout the film, then it's either because I'm just tired, I'm just trying to push through it essentially, and that means that my attention span is just waning. I've gotten to the point now, if it's a movie I've never seen, I gotta put my phone in the other room, otherwise I won't pay attention to it.
I'm the same
Um,
way, Zach. I got to put my phone up and I got to completely be invested in what I'm watching.
Yep. But I mean, for me, I wouldn't go to that length of like, if I have to take a break from it, then I'm done with it. It's just I'm just tired essentially.
And as far as my point of view, I've been a cigarette smoker since the age of 12 and a marijuana smoker since the age of 16. So no matter whether I'm reviewing movies or watching an episode of episodic TV shows, after a good 30 to 45 minutes, I do get up and I'll sit there and sequester away and have me a cigarette or a joint, one of the two. And while I'm sitting there, if depending on what I'm watching, and this is my mindset, depending on what I'm watching, and how invested I am in that, will I sit there and will I just play around on my phone, or will I sit there and look up more about this story that I'm watching, so that when I go back in after my cigarette or joint, I'm more in tune with the movie. Does that make sense to either of you?
Not really.
Oh my god!
But
What about you, Zach? No, it don't make sense to you.
I mean, I mean, I'm not a smoker, so I'm not like that extent.
Well, okay. What I'm saying basically is,
I
smoking part,
I get what you're
go
saying.
out
I get what you're
and
saying. You're saying on your breaks, you try to keep entwined with the movie by looking stuff up or just thinking about the
yes,
scenario that you
yes,
just
yes,
watched.
Yeah.
But
and I try to
to me,
replay it and make it.
that part kind of makes sense. But to me, I'm like, man, I feel like I don't even. My mind is so racy that I feel like even if I took like a 10-minute break to just pause, take a breath, and look up what I'm watching, I feel like by the time I get back into the movie, I'm kind of just like, I'm kind of done. Maybe I don't know. My mind just works so weird, and I hate the way my mind works.
Depending on the information I receive, depending on the information I receive while I'm sitting there on my break, will actually improve or make my experience less. Depending, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if the more I can find out about a situation like with this, I didn't look up anything. That's why I asked you guys during this, was how much of this was real and how much was this story just thrown together for Hollywood senses, and I wanted to know for real, because I didn't look up this movie, but there have been other movies that I will sit there and like go the extra mile to find out what I don't comprehend, or I'll just go and find more information to make this experience more enjoyable.
No, that makes sense.
Unfortunately for me, I don't think any kind of breaks or more information could have made this story a little bit more entertaining. Not even the fun fact of Mr. McConaughey himself, all right, could put this movie on the map for me as far as a war movie goes. So I'm going to kick us off favorite scenes by saying my favorite scene was probably the opening explosion scenes where they got onto the submarine and did what they needed to do. Bill Paxton, John Jovi's, whatever his name is, he did not. No. He did not deserve to be in this movie. Bon Jovi's death was also, that sequence itself was the highlight for me. And then the last 25 minutes, the way it was pacing, if they were going to make it or not, the score. At one point, I felt like I was listening to the scene in Jumanji where the drums were like doom 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 doom. I was like, is this Jumanji or where are we getting this from? So
Roll your dice. Shit, I'm getting tired of hearing this noise.
that was a pretty cool sequence and scene. But other than that, this was a pretty
then-
forgetful war movie for me.
And then Robin Williams walks on screen.
Yeah.
What year is it? What year?
Zach, what about you?
I would agree when they're doing like I call it like a spy mission of the part where they're just trying to get on the U-571 submarine and get the Enigma device. I thought that was good. Some of the sequences where they're trying to dodge like the incoming missiles and the barrels that the ships are dropping off, I thought that some of that was actually really well done.
There was some tension there in some of those scenes.
Yeah. And then kind of I just didn't kind of the claustrophobic nature of the submarine was actually, I thought that was well done just throughout the film. So what about you, Jay?
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, and I'm gonna sit there and say yes, the claustrophobic. I'm a very claustrophobic person. I hate water. Like if I walk in lake water and I feel that squishy underneath my foot, I'm like, ah. So just being in that, we're 200 meters below water. I'm like, oh shit, how much is that in feet? I'm like, no, I'm good. To be a person in the Navy, and while watching this movie, the entirety of it, I'm like, screw that. We are in a vessel underwater in the 1940s that we barely know how this technology works. Get out of that damn water. And that was a lot of my mental capacity going on at that time, because I'm sitting there thinking, it doesn't matter if it's in English or Russian. We're in a submarine in the 1940s, and we barely have this depth submersion situation figured out. I know I'm probably overthinking this too much, and then I'm also sitting there thinking about, is this a true story? And I didn't care to look it up if it was not. I didn't really care. But then at the end of the movie, when it sat there and brought up 3 different points of views, like here's when we got this, here's when we got that, here's when we got this. So at that point, I knew this was a made-up story. But as far as the cinematography, the visual effects, the acting with certain characters, Matthew McConaughey was fine. He looked a little. Was it just me, or did he not? Did he look a little gaunt in this movie? Like his face was a little sunken, like he was a. He may have been sickly.
He was preparing for a Dallas Buyers Club like 20 years up prior.
Yeah, he looked a little sickly. Bill Paxton was.
I don't think he looks. I don't.
Straight hot. Right.
He doesn't look that sick though.
No, I don't think he looks sickly. I think that's just him with no hair. He looked off with the whole no hair thing. Okay. So yeah,
he did have a baldness look to him. Bill Paxton, extraordinary in this movie, and the person we're not giving that I haven't heard anybody talk about was the guy that was after the Enigma machine. I'm not sure his name.
Yeah,
but his acting was superb. I've seen him in other movies, and every time I see him on screen, I'm like, this dude's a badass.
He was the ship captain on the Venture in the Peter Jackson King Kong.
Okay. See, anytime I see this dude on screen, I'm like, that dude's a badass. I believe his badass ability. Whatever he says, go. So I'm like, yeah.
That's just the German in him.
And then a lot of the I enjoyed the tonal looks. Like I said, the cinematography of like the murky water, and you said, is that a missile in the water? Oh shit, it is a missile in the water, and then boom, just hell and haywire. There's a lot of problems with this movie, but there's also a lot of good in this movie.
Jay, you have a lot of good with this movie. Go ahead and kick us off with star rating.
Star rating, I'm going to give it about a 3. I know that seems low for a movie that I've been gushing about the entire time, but as far as a lot of the war movies go that are out there and that we've all seen, that we all know about, this is one of the bottom of the barrel. This is very mediocre. This is very by the books. This is very much a, what's the best we can do to propagandize the storyline of a few rebels against the big dogs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of like a side, a side World War II story that you don't hear much
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get it. Um, for a name that nobody hardly brought up that I was going to mention, and the reason it's getting 2.5 stars out of me, I'm giving this 2.5 out of 5. Harvey Keitel, the limited time he got was pretty good. I wish I would have seen a little bit more of Harvey Keitel in this movie. Matthew McConaughey was just okay again. Um, Story was okay. Subplot. The movie the reason that this movie really does any kind of good for me is the sound and the war sequences when and there is war sequences. So
I agree with
it's
you.
on Netflix. Go give it a shot. Go check it out for yourself. Let us know. It's on Netflix. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Zach, what about you?
I
I'm
have
gonna
something to add before we continue this up real quick.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
I'm gonna stick with Jay. I'm gonna give it a 3. Kind of everything he said is on point, and agree with you on certain aspects, Johnny. Um, it's a middle of the road World War II film that I kind of get why it's been lost in the shuffle 25 years later. But like I said from the outset, it's fine to good in some parts, and I think that serves it well. So
Jay, what were you going to mention?
I was going to ask you both this question directly, since we're kind of going. This is the year of Matthew McConaughey, correct?
yeah.
So, on the grand scheme of things, where do you think this movie exhibits his talent, if it even does? I think it does in very minute. I think he's still trying to find his footing at this point. Because if we're going to do a 12-month study, I think this movie he's at the beginning of his fame and his newfound, I'm Matthew McConaughey, so he's just kind of just
Well,
be
looking at his
there.
filmography,
Good question, by the way.
looking at his filmography, this was in 2000. This is his only
Yes.
movie he did. The year
He's
prior,
only been
1999.
he's been doing this for what at this point?
6 years.
6 years? Okay.
Yeah. And 1999 was Ed TV, which you talked about, Jay. And then the year after this was 2001 with The Wedding Planner
And I
and
haven't seen that one.
Frailty. So 2002,
Yeah.
the year after that, 2002 was Reign of Fire, and 2003 was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
And I haven't seen
So-
either of those either.
So with this movie, to answer your question, he's definitely. I'm wanting to say he's just throwing his name out there at this young point in his career, and I
Yeah.
think this movie
Is he
doesn't.
trying to get work? Is he getting recognized at this point in time? Do you think
This movie doesn't do him justice as far as giving him the flat out, how can I put this, the platform he needs. I think he would have done good as a star in a World War II type of movie, but not where he's just confined to a submarine.
I think at this point in his career, though, it was just, hey, we cast Matthew McConaughey as the lieutenant that's going to take over as captain.
Right, but if you can if you in the movie, he's really upset and he's that young gunslinger because he didn't get his own ship.
Well, and really, if you look at his filmography, like 3 years prior to this, in 1997, he had Amistad working with Spielberg, and then he also had Contact. So,
Jodie Foster, yes,
Yeah.
and Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah,
Yep.
so. I think it's the movie's fault
This
why
was
he didn't
possibly
shine
his
in the.
least- Go ahead.
But I think it's I think it's the movie and the director's fault why he probably didn't shine like he should have in this movie.
And I'm going to agree with you right there, because with Zach just naming off what he did before this movie, he
Yeah.
should have been a star on Contact, but instead he was relegated to a forgettable second rate, it's just whatever, it's the normal, the underqualified guy getting his final come up, and so he can make himself feel better and finally get his flags and flowers. So and it didn't feel earned.
one last off the rails. I did not know, and I didn't even know he was in Larger Than Life, the Bill Murray elephant movie.
Yes,
You remember that?
movie, yes.
I forgot. I don't even remember him
Do
in
you remember? You guys remember Operation Dumbo Drop?
No.
Yeah, with Danny Glover.
Yeah. Oh God, it's a Disney film, sir. Look it up. Operation Dumbo Drop. Ray Liotta.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
with the elephant.
Yeah.
Yep. During the Vietnam War, I believe.
Speaking of the summertime, this episode kicks us off with summer conversations. Zach, what are we getting into for the month of June?
Well, like I said, the final reckoning is upon us. Next week, we're talking about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. It's in theaters now. I think it had the highest grossing for the franchise for an
77
opening.
million.
Yep. Week after that, we're going back.
Oh
to McConaughey.
yes. They only get younger. I say the same. They get younger. Yes, they say confused.
June 10th, we're talking about Dazed and Confused. June the 17th, we're talking about Batman Forever. And then we end the month of June 24th, with the new theatrical release of 28 Years Later.
And on social media, July just got released. So Zach, let's zoom through July.
Come on.
Yeah, July 1st, which I've never seen this movie, so it's going to be an interesting.
You were in for a treat, sir. You are in very much for a treat. It is excellent.
July 4th, in representation of baseball, and kind of a July 4th movie, Angels in the Outfield. Yep. July the 8th, we're going back to the theater for the release of Jurassic World Rebirth. Hopefully it's going to be better than Dominion.
It will be.
That's what I hope for. So
we'll just call it now. It'll be some weird genetic misfit bullshit and call it a day. They just threw Scarlett Johansson on there and said Jurassic World. We're all good. How's that sound?
Hopefully. July 15th, we go back to the theater again for the James Gunn's Superman. I think we're all highly looking forward to that one.
I am.
Oh, Jesus Christ. July 22nd.
Are you taking off this weekend?
Yeah, probably.
Better not. I know.
We're doing, I guess is it a requel to the original?
It's a requel, yes.
Yeah, it's a requel.
Okay, we're doing the new release of the requel to I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's July 22nd. And then July 29th, we end the month with Fantastic Four: The First Steps. So it's a packed month.
If you've seen Thunderbolts, you already kind of know how.
So Zach,
is going to end.
Zach, just to get you hyped for this episode, there's a build to cast of Matthew McConaughey, Adrian Brody, Neil McDowell, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, J.O. Sanders, Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza, and Danny Glover.
And the older woman from Home Alone 2. Remember the bird lady from Home Alone 2?
That's not going to help anything. We definitely don't need to know she's.
That's not going to help me at all. So.
What the hell? Nobody's seen Home Alone 2?
So, yeah, Adrian Brody just got done winning an Oscar. Matthew McConaughey has won an Oscar. Christopher Lloyd's in there. Tony Danza. What a cast, right, Zach?
Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza, and Danny Glover and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are your big cast members in this movie. They're the main four.
That's insane.
To give a reference to this movie, the only thing I know about this is one of the opening trailers to the Lion King VHS. That's all I know about it.
That movie's on Disney Plus, but I cannot wait. Next week, the first episode in June. Summer kicks off with a bang with what we just talked about today. But Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning next week.
Supposed to be the final. But with the budget and the numbers that they got with this past weekend, I don't know if it'll be the final, sirs.
It'll be the final next week.
I don't know about that.
On another